We all know how this story ends: the American flag planted in the dusty surface of the moon. Neil Armstrong's famous words, "One small step for man, but what if I told you, we almost didn't make it? What if I told you the first moon landing came seconds away from ending in disaster? Fuel nearly ran out. The guidance computer crashed. Mission control was moments from yelling, 'Abort! Abort!' And yet, somehow, they made it. But how? And how close were we really to watching the first men on the moon die on live television? Today, we're going deep into the terrifying final minutes of Apollo 11. And by the end of this video, you'll realize something chilling. The moon landing was never a sure thing. Before we dive in, quick question. Would you have had the nerve to land a spacecraft manually, with 17 seconds of fuel left? Type yes or no in the comments. I'm curious to see how many of you would have risked it. Let's rewind. On July 16, 1969, the mighty Saturn V rocket roared to life. Inside, 3 men: Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins. Their mission: land on the moon. Walk on it. Come home alive. Easy, right? Well, not quite. 4 days later, after a flawless journey through space, the crew reached lunar orbit. It was time for Armstrong and Aldrin to enter the lunar module, a fragile spacecraft nicknamed Eagle. The goal: landed on the moon while Collins orbited above in the command module. The world was watching. The stakes? Unimaginable. Now here's the thing: NASA planned everything. The descent was supposed to be fully automated, controlled by the Apollo guidance computer, a marvel of its time. But there was one tiny issue: that computer had less processing power than your microwave. Seriously. It ran at 0.043 MHz and had just 64 kilobytes of memory. And that was the brain controlling a moon landing. Still, they trusted it. Until it started failing. As the lunar module descended toward the surface, something unexpected happened. A loud beeping. On the screen. 1202 error. Now imagine being 10,000 feet above the moon, and your computer just threw a code no one prepared you for. Neither Armstrong nor Aldrin had any idea what it meant. And worse, they were falling fast. Back in Houston, engineers scrambled. Was this a system crash? Would it affect the landing engines? Were they seconds from death? A young flight controller named Steve Bales made a gutsy call. "We're go on that alarm." Turns out, the computer wasn't broken. It was just overloaded with tasks. But for 30 heart-pounding seconds, no one knew for sure. What would you have done? Abort the mission, or trust the 1960s software and keep going? Let me know in the comments. Just when they cleared the alarm, another problem. The landing site? Totally unsafe. Filled with boulders. Cratered. Sloped. Deadly. Armstrong had to take manual control. He tilted the module and flew sideways over the surface, looking for somewhere safe to land. But every second he searched, they burned more fuel. And they didn't have much to begin with. At one point, telemetry showed they had just 30 seconds of descent fuel left. 30 seconds to find a spot, stabilize the ship, and land it safely. Would you have kept going? Or pulled up? If you're enjoying this breakdown of one of history's most dangerous moments, and want more stories like it every week, tap that subscribe button. It helps more than you know, and it tells me you're loving this type of content. Now back to the moon. Armstrong spotted a flat patch just in time. He guided the module toward it. The cockpit was silent. Buzz Aldrin called out descent data, 40 feet, 30 feet, then, a soft click. A light blinked on. Contact light. The landing gear had touched the moon. Houston, Tranquility Base here, the Eagle has landed. Cheers erupted on Earth. What they didn't say. They had landed with only 17 seconds of fuel left. Any longer, and the descent engines would have cut off mid-air. And we'd be telling a very different story. So, who really saved the moon landing? Sure, Armstrong's calmness was legendary. But behind him were dozens of unsung heroes. Margaret Hamilton, the software engineer whose code prevented the overloaded computer from crashing. Jack Garman, the 24-year-old who instantly recognized the 1202 error and advised not to abort. Steve Bales, who gave the final go. It wasn't just bravery that saved Apollo 11. It was brains. And teamwork. Here's something eerie. The White House had prepared a speech, in case Armstrong and Aldrin never made it back. President Nixon was ready to read. These brave men know that there is no hope for their recovery, but they also know that there is hope for mankind in their sacrifice. That speech was never needed. But the fact that it existed tells you everything about how risky this mission truly was. We celebrate Apollo 11 as one of humanity's greatest triumphs. But it was also one of our greatest risks. People forget there were no guarantees. No safety net. Just courage, skill, and a little bit of luck. Landing on the moon wasn't destiny. It was a gamble that somehow paid off. If this story opened your eyes, smash that like button so others see it too. Subscribe for more untold moments in history. And comment below. Do you think we should go back to the moon? Or focus on Mars? Until next time, stay curious.